Hello, welcome to the first episode of the Chaplain's Den. Chaplain's Den is a site where hopefully you'll feel free and welcome to ask whatever question you have, whether it's a spiritual question, whether it's an everyday question. And the purpose is basically to give you just a simple, honest answer. There's so much stuff right now that we see through the various sites, through online media, through regular media. So much misinformation, some stuff that's done purposely, some stuff that's just outright lies. There's a lot of stuff that is just misinformed. Sometimes people mean well, but they have the wrong idea of stuff, or they have the wrong knowledge, and it's just hard to figure it out. It's hard to figure it all out, and so a lot of people, a lot of friends have said to me, because they just feel thankfully that I'm somebody that they can talk to, and they're like, you should be doing that kind of thing, and giving people, if they don't have the correct information, they're not gonna have the difference. All they're gonna have is the misinformation. So just quickly, what a chaplain is basically a pastor who prefers to work outside of the church. They prefer to be in the world with people, trying to help people. You're on your journey trying to get through it the best you can. I'm on mine trying to get through it the best you can. If there's any way that I can help you, that's great. And that's exactly what this site is intended to do. Just to give you a forum where feel free to voice whatever question that you could possibly have, and I'll do my best to answer it. So the first thing I thought I'd start off with is people ask the question, well, why is Christianity considered a personal religion? Why does it talk about being a personal faith? Why does it talk about personal relationships? It's an interesting question because it's something that is different about Christianity in comparison to a lot of other faith groups. As a chaplain, I deal with all kinds of people who either have no faith or they have different faiths. And it's interesting when you talk to people, why is your faith important? And they'll answer you, it's part of my culture, it's part of my family's tradition, it's part of my heritage. It's a source of strength, it's a source of comfort, it gives me a foundation, it gives me guidance. There's a lot of different things, but it's interesting when you ask a true Christian about their faith, a lot of the time they're going to tell you personal experiences. They're going to say, you know what, there was a time when I was having a terrible time. My life was falling apart. I was dealing with a divorce, or I was dealing with addictions or whatever. And I hit a wall, and there was this time that I didn't feel like there was any help for me. And I got to the point where I needed help and called out for help. And all of a sudden it was there. That's one of the great things that Christianity reveals itself to many people in that way. When you're humble enough to say, I need help with this, and then all of a sudden that help comes in, and that becomes defining for you. That becomes, something that you build on, because it's not just a set system of guidelines or whatever. It's something that really means something to you. It works in your life. I remember, for example, talking about the need for this type of site. There was a group of people that had set up a site where people from all these different religions could come together and talk, and it was a really good idea. Open, honest conversations. That was their purpose, and they set up their ground rules, and I was able to join them a few weeks in, and it was interesting because all of a sudden somebody's like, okay, I want to throw out a new rule that personal experiences you can't talk about them. Which right away for me, that says, okay, you guys did a great thing in setting up the rules together, and here's somebody that really should be called out right away, not in a nasty way, but should be called out right away. Okay, if you want to incorporate new rules, we do that as a group. You don't just fire in new rules all by yourself. But this person had this thing that you can't throw in personal experiences. Well, it's kind of weird. It was kind of weird. But then as they were talking about it, I realized what was happening. There was two women in the group. There was an older woman and a young girl. And this person would love to kind of bully them. And he was that type of person that He's not trying to find the truth. He's trying to expose all the other religions. That's his agenda. So he's coming in with these prepared questions and prepared debates and false facts and all this other stuff. And he wants to put people in a corner where they say, okay, I don't know the answers, and I guess my faith is fake, and I give it up. What would happen, what was interesting, is he would get these women into a position where they didn't know all these questions. They didn't know all these things. But then, so he would say, okay, so now you know it's fake. And they would say, yeah, but here's this time when I absolutely needed help, and all of a sudden help was there. I absolutely needed strength, and all of a sudden strength was there. I absolutely needed comfort, and all of a sudden comfort was there. For me, that was the same case well, I've had that happen many times in my life now. It's one of those things people will say, oh, it's just a coincidence. Well, the coincidences are adding up a lot. But you get to a point where people say, you're dealing with whatever it is, you're dealing with grief, for example, and you get like, I can't deal with this the way it is. And you get to the point where you turn it over to God, and God, I don't know if you're willing to help. I don't know if you want to help. I just know I need help. I can't do this alone. And all of a sudden you have this feeling of it's just like it doesn't take the problem away, but now you can deal with it. All of a sudden you have the strength that you're not alone. You're not alone in this. You have a support system that you can feel. And people can't explain that. People can't explain that. They want to say that it's, whatever, it's just, it's in your head or whatever. But that's one of the things that I find that's great about Christianity is a lot of other faiths, you don't hear those stories. There's like, oh, I prayed and this came true, or this happened, or whatever. But to feel it, that's the difference. That's the difference. There was a group of religious leaders that got together, and they came up with an analogy for their face, and they were talking about a mountain. So your life's journey is a mountain, and you have to climb this mountain. And if you endure and persevere and climb this mountain and get to the top, then you're going to meet your God. That's the end result. Well, there was a Christian leader by the name of Billy Graham, and he made the point, I don't agree with that, because Christianity for me is, I'm on a journey, I'm trying to climb this mountain, but every once in a while I get stuck. I get caught in a trap. Maybe it's my own fault. Maybe I completely messed up. Half the time we are the ones that completely messed up, but I'm stuck and I need help. And I have a God that I can say, I'm stuck. I need help. And our God comes down and helps us through that. So we're continuing our journey up the mountain, but we have a God that says, when you need me, I'll be there. That's the difference. That's just a great analogy, I think, for the Christian experience. As a chaplain, I help people all the time that have no faith and have to go through things. And I'm at the point now, I just think, I don't know how some people do it. Like they lose a loved one, different things that they have to go through. And I'm thinking, and I've talked to other Christians that I know look at it the same. Like, we would be almost terrified knowing the difference to have to face it. If somebody said, okay, you need to face that situation without any support, God's not going to give you any support in that situation. That would be really difficult, because you get to rely on it so much. That becomes your hope. That when I get overwhelmed, people say, well, where do you get your strength from? Well, there's no question where I get my strength from. It's not from me. It's not from me. There's a point where you know that you can only go so far. And I think that's the difference when people hit a wall. There's people that either say, I'm going to fall down and give up. I'm going to keep going regardless. or people that say, I need help, and they're going to reach out to that help. And the Bible says, when you seek, when you call on the Lord, he will come. That's, he's ready, willing. He's coming. That's all there is to it. He wants to help us out. And when you realize, when you go through so many things in life and you realize that there's that help over and over and over again, that's when you realize how strong your faith is, and the real difference in it. I remember there was a girl in church once that I could tell she was having a hard time, and she came in. It was just a weekday. She's like, "Can I possibly pray in the church?" And she went in, and I kind of went in to check on her from time to time, and she was in for a good hour. You could tell it was a bad situation. Now, the amazing thing was the girl that walked in was completely broken, completely shattered. The girl that walked out, you could see the hope, you could see the strength. It didn't fix the problem. Whatever the problem was, I don't know. She couldn't talk about it. That's fine sometimes. It didn't take the problem away, but she knew she was going to be able to deal with the problem because she was no longer dealing with the problem alone. And that's the biggest difference. I often say the great thing about Christianity, you look at a lot of religions, you can say, are they true, are they false? You can try to prove them, disprove them. Christianity, true Christians, we're either right or we're crazy. I mean, there's no middle ground. There's no middle ground. You're either off your rocker, or but in a good way, because we're able to deal with a lot of stuff that we weren't able to deal with before. We're able to deal with things so much better. When you look at just the joy and contentment. No, we're not happy all the time. We're not like fake people. We still have negatives. We still have all the issues. We still have our own failings in our own life. But you have a different outlook because you know you have help. You know that there is an end result in everything that is going to be okay, and that completely changes your outlook. So what I want to do with this video, this is just kind of this is the beginning. As I said, this is the introduction. Hopefully it's something that'll help you. I just want to provide honest, simple answers. A lot of you are the same as me. You get so sick of all the fake information, all the biased information, everything that comes with an agendas now. You don't know what you can trust. You really don't. And you don't want prepared answers. I can't stand prepared answers. I want simple, honest, straightforward answers. There's people in my life. I love them. I know I'll never get a straightforward answer. They always think, why is he asking? How, what's the information to give? What's the information not to give? There's people in my life. I love them, and I know I can ask them a question, and regardless of why I would be asking or whatever, here is the truthful answer. And all that is a blessing. That is a blessing. And that's what I try to do as a chaplain. A chaplain is just somebody who's out in the world, and that's why I like being out in the world, because when you're in the church, let's face it, a lot of people don't like asking questions, unfortunately, because they have the vanity. They feel that they should know. When people see me outside and they see that I'm a chaplain, then it's amazing. Once they get to trust you, then they'll say, you know what, I've been wondering about this, and I love being able to answer that and help them. So that's something that I want to try to provide for you people. Just honest answers. There's no agenda. Chaplains work for you. That's basically how you look at it. Chaplain is somebody who's trying to help you on your journey. Like I said, whether it's a spiritual question, whether it's an everyday question, I'll try to do it the best that I can. Christ says that whoever comes to him, he won't cast them away. So you're on your journey and you're trying to figure it out. There's no one who is disqualified. It doesn't matter what you know. It doesn't matter what you don't know. It doesn't matter where you are on your journey. Um, Keep progressing. God bless, and I hope you can help you. Thanks a lot for tuning in.